Hi guys, and welcome to FaithWorks Designs. I am Faith, and today we are doing another sew along by K&A Custom Fabrics. Now, if you've done a Tamagotchi, this one's going to be kind of like a redo. We're going to be doing things a little slightly different, so make sure that you watch the video all the way through. It is so cute, and I meant to look up his name before I got started, and I did not. But you guys know who he is. I will have the name on the video. I will look it up then. Editing Faith will take care of all of that. But anyway, he's so cute. So, what are we doing differently? The back is going to be the front. So, hopefully it will not get too confusing. We will see. So, we've got his cute little ears. A couple of the testers and people that are doing the add-ons have been doing an amazing job. Danielle is amazing at kind of adding little details to the extras, like the little add-ons, to make sure that they stand up the way that they should. I thought about putting some Peltex in the center but cutting it a lot shorter and then sewing them together, but I didn't do that. I don't know if that would be any more helpful or not, but for me they've stayed up pretty well. So it's just up to you and what you want to try. So in the back today we're doing a sling, and you will have 4 of these little triangle pieces. I went ahead and did the sling option. You could make it into a book bag, you could do whatever you want with it. So we've got 2 little D-rings down at the bottom so that we can connect our strap to either side, so if you're left-handed, right-handed, whatever. The zipper that was on the front is now on the back, which is pretty cool for, you know, keeping things safe while you're at a Comic-Con or something like that. And then you can just kind of stick your goodies inside of there. Then we've got the inside. Just like we did the other one, it's pretty basic on the inside. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so let's talk about hardware and some extra things that you're going to need. You're going to need some binding. I know, you guys don't like it, but I'm telling you guys, listen to me. If you just try it and practice at it, you guys can do this. I believe in you. You're going to need 3 D-rings and 3 zipper pulls. Now, I use 3 because I do 2 on my outer zipper and I do 1 on the back of the bag. It's up to you, whichever you want to do. I just like it when I open my main part of the zipper to open it up like this instead of having to go from one side all the way to the other. It's up to you and whatever you want to do. You're going to need a swivel clasp and a strap adjuster. All of these are going to be 1 inch, and then I've got my 1 inch webbing that I'm going to make for my strap. I'm going to give you all the measurements for the strap when we get to that part. Alright, so we got our panel rolled out. Super cute little guy. And we have an add-on with this one for his little ears. This is going to be my first time doing an add-on, so this should be fun. Alright, so you got your vinyl, and then I've got some waterproof canvas for the lining. In the video, you're going to see me making a separate piece for the lining that wasn't included in the pattern that I got. But you guys will have the lining that you need, and I'll show you when I get there. So we got it straight for you guys before any of the panels are going out. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and cut out all of my pieces, and then go ahead and interface all of my pieces. Then I'm going to take these pieces and use them as a template to cut all of my lining out. So let me go do that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do our gusset really quickly. So you're going to need your 2 gusset linings, your 2 outer, and then your zipper should be the length of your gusset. You guys know the drill. Right side to your zipper. You can base stitch these 2 together first, or you can just go ahead, add the lining, and sew them together. That's what I'm going to do to make it a little bit faster. Now I'm going to take my lining right side to the wrong side of my zipper and add them to that zipper sandwich. Then we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, we're going to sew these together. So let's go do that. Alright, so I've got a 3 stitch length, a 12 needle, and we're doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When I ever remember to turn my sewing machine on before I get started. Alright, I've turned my stitch length to a 4. I'm going to take my lining and my outer panel and pull them away from my zipper so that they look like that. I'm going to base stitch the sides together and then top stitch down the zipper. Alright, just like I did to the other side, I'm going to take my right side of my outer panel to the right side of my zipper, clip those two all the way together, and then I'm going to add my lining panel right side to the wrong side of my zipper. Alright, now we're going to again with a 3 stitch length that I did not change it to and a 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're going to sew all those together. Alright, I've switched my stitch length to a 4. We're going to base stitch down the side again. Ooh. And then down our zipper. Alright, so we have got our zipper gusset all done. Next thing I'm going to do is open up one side. If you want to just use one zipper, that's fine. You just need to pay attention to which direction you're going to be putting your gusset on when you put your gusset on. Alright, now come down to the other end. Place your other zipper. I don't know why I like 2 zippers. I just do. So that's done. The next thing we need to do is we need to grab our bottom gusset and our bottom gusset lining. So we're going to put right side to right side and we're going to clip those together. Then I'm going to grab my lining and I'm going to put right side to right side, or right side of my lining to the wrong side of my zipper. And while we're here, let's go down to the other end and go ahead and do it. So put your other end of your bottom gusset to the other end of your zipper gusset and clip those together. We'll just go ahead and do both of them while we're there. So those two are together. Then we're going to take the lining, taking the right side of our lining to the right side of our other lining, wrong side of our zipper. And then we're going to take it to the sewing machine. Okay, so you may or may not hear it, but somebody's cutting down a tree next door to me, which it's about dang time. All right. So if you hear that, that's the noise. Alright, so I have got a 3 stitch length and I'm doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to make sure that I back stitch when I start to stop, and I'm going to do that on both ends of my gussets. That tree is going to take that house down next door to us and our electric with it. I'm so glad they're cutting some back now. Alright, back to the table. Alright, now we're going to turn the right side out. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my bottom gusset lining and my bottom gusset and I'm going to clip them together. And then I'm going to go back to my sewing machine and I'm going to go ahead and base stitch them together so that they're a whole lot easier to work with. Alright, we're base stitching down the sides. I'm going to turn the right side in and just make it a little bit easier. I'm not going across my seam where the zipper gusset and the bottom gusset meet. I've just about stopped doing that. It's not really like necessary, but you can do it if you want to. So we've got our gusset all done. Next thing you're going to need to do is put your centers of your gussets together and find the center of your zipper gusset, make a notch on both sides, then put your gusset sides back together, find the center of your bottom gusset sides. Do it on both sides. Now we're going to grab a couple of things so that we can kind of do multiple things at the sewing machine and I don't have to keep taking you back and forth. So you're going to grab your lining that looks like this is going to be your front panel. It was the back panel on the Tamagotchi, but it is the front panel on this one. We're going to take these and we're going to put them wrong side together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to base stitch around them so that they stay together. Yes, this bag is binding. It is a little teeny tiny bag, so binding seemed like the way to go. Alright, so once that's done and you've got wrong sides together, we're going to take that to the sewing machine and base them together. Now we're going to grab our ears. You should probably use some glue, but since we're in a hurry and ain't nobody got time for that, I went ahead and I put a bunch of double-sided tape on my ears. Well, I would use glue generally if I was doing this, but you're going to need to have time for it to dry. You really, really need time for it to dry. And I do not have that time. So double-sided tape is just going to have to work. So put your ears together. I wish maybe later after I do the top stitching, I can put something heavy on top of it and just get it to kind of flatten out a little bit better. Okay, take that double tape off. We're going to take these to the sewing machine, and then you're just going to do 1/8 of an inch all the way around just to kind of put them together. So we're going to take these. Now we're going to grab our D-ring connectors. We're getting a lot done, y'all. You're going to need to put a piece of your interfacing that is 3/4 wide by the width of your D-ring. And then we're going to need to find the center. Normally I do that first, but I forgot all about it. So here we are. Find the center of that. You need to find the center first so that you know where to put your deck of the light and make sure that it's in the right spot. Alright, grab your double-sided tape and we're going to put it right down the center. Alright, now we're going to remove the paper and we're going to fold the edges in on itself. We're going to take these to the sewing machine along with everything else, and we're going to go ahead and stitch down each side so that the D-ring connector will stay closed and ready to be used on the bag. Okay, I think that's it. Let's go to the sewing machine and sew, base stitch all this stuff together. Alright, so we've got a 4 stitch length, and I'm just sewing down one side across and then back down. Do that for both your D-ring connectors. Alright, now for the ears and the body, you're just going to want to do 1/8 of an inch from the edge all the way around, and then I'm going to take this to my table and kind of trim everything down so it looks nice. If you were going to edge coat the ears, you would probably want to do this part first so that you have your top stitching done, trimmed, and then go ahead and put your edge coating on. I am not going to mess with that today, but it would make it look a lot nicer. So I've got everything all trimmed up. I don't know why I always make my lining bigger than my panel, and I always have to trim it down, but I do. Alright, ears. So, let me look at these. Okay, so they kind of have a little bit of an angle at the bottom, you'll notice, and where it kind of kicks out needs to be on the side. And what you're going to do, let's line him up. I should have went ahead and put my center marks, but that's alright. There we go. Alright, so we're going to do 1 inch. So there's our center. 1 inch on each side, you're going to put your little flaps. Now what we're going to have to do is you're going to have to put them right side down, and we're going to go base stitch this in place. And it's going to look weird for a whole second, but that's okay. Go base stitch those in place. Alright, my ears are stitched on. When they're sewn in, they're going to flap out like that. He's going to be super cute. Alright, set him aside. Y'all, I make way too many patterns. Okay. If you see poked holes and all of this, that's because I almost got the entire back panel finished before I realized that I messed up. It's okay. It's going to be alright. We're going to be fine. It's fine. I know what I did wrong now. Alright. We're going to grab the back bottom panel of our back of our purse and our zipper. And we're going to try, without swearing, to finish this stinking bag. Alright, right sides together. We're going to clip those together. I messaged Alex and I was like, Alex, I'm going to strangle somebody. And she's like, yep. I would have too. Alright, once you get that done, you're going to grab your lining that is the same size as your back bottom panel. And we're going to put that right side to the wrong side of your zipper and clip them together. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine and sew these together. Okay, so 3 stitch length, 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. You would think that the person that made the pattern would remember how to make it, but you would be incorrect. I made way too many panels and way too many patterns. Okay, we're going to take the lining and the outer and pull them away. And then we're going to put our stitch length at a 4. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to base stitch around the edges, and then I'll come across my zipper and top stitch down my zipper. Alright, so this is the culprit that messed me up. I completely forgot to get this piece, and it messed the whole thing up. Alright, what you need to do is go ahead and cut across the top so that it's straight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right side up. And then what I'm going to do is take this to the sewing machine, and y'all are going to be shocked. I'm going to base stitch this in place. Once I base stitch across there, I'm just going to kind of cut out around and make it all even. Let me go base stitch this in place. Alright, so what I did was I just sewed across the top. You're not sewing down here or anything like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to trim this panel down. Okay, what we need to do now, we need to grab our messed up flap. My messed up flap. Okay, you're going to take right side to right side of your zipper. We're not putting our zipper on just yet. We're going to clip those two together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. We're going to put our lining face down. Alright, so your lining is face down. Now let's go to the sewing machine and sew those together. 1/4 inch with a 3 stitch length. We're going to sew those together. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lining, push it up, and I'm going to take my outer panel and push it up, and I'm going to clip those together. Okay. I'm going to base stitch around the outside. Alright, now before we do anything else, we're going to need to get our zipper. So I'm putting my zipper on the right side, opening that zipper up. Okay, done. Now, we're going to grab, mine looks like this. Yours will look like that. We found out after Nefarious did hers that we were going to need an extra one of these panels. It will be on your panel, just not on ours, because that was my bad. Again, making way too many panels. Alright, with your other panel, you're going to want to have it right side down. And you're going to put these two together so that the wrong sides are together. Go ahead and clip those together and then take them to the sewing machine and then base stitch them together. Alright, now that that's done, you're going to see this on the inside. Alright, now I went ahead and I found the bottom center and I found the top center. These are going to become really important in a minute. So I'm going to line up my bag so that the top center is along my cutting board line. And here's where you would grab your D-ring connectors. I'm going to be using webbing today just because I like the flexibility of it. I'm weird and I am very well aware of it. So you're going to put your D-ring on your connector. It's just like the 3 inches on the D-ring that comes with your panel. Okay, now we're going to go 1, so here's my center mark, 1, 2, 3. And then the end of my D-ring connector right there. I'm going to find a center again once I get my D-ring ready. So D-ring on the connector. I'm going to melt the ends of my webbing. Okay, so there's my center. 1, 2, 3. Or wherever you feel like they're more comfortable, you can put them there. If you're going to do a backpack, you can do them wherever you want. Alright, that's done. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and base stitch those on. Alright, so that is our back panel so far. Now we've got to make the top of our sling with our connectors. So I have a 4-inch piece of webbing. I've burnt both ends and I've got one more D-ring connector. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my D-ring connector in my webbing. I'm going to close that up, and then I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to base stitch that on one of those sides of our triangle. I've got my 4 stitch length, and I've got about 1/4 of an inch of my webbing going over the edge of my piece. I don't know if you can see it or not. And then I'm just going to base these two together. Then I'm going to change my stitch length to a 3, and I'm going to put my triangles right side together, and what we're going to do is we're going to sew down this side, then down here, and then up here. We're going to leave up here open so that we can turn it right side out. I'm also going to be sewing this twice. I'm going to do my 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to go back and do an 1/8 of an inch so that when I turn this right side out, it won't put a bunch of stress on those seams that I'm making, and it'll just look a lot better. If you ever pull something right side out and you see like your threads coming through, you need to do a stitch right behind or directly beside the stitching that you just did, and then that won't happen. And we're getting really close with that chainsaw. Alright, so that's done, and I went ahead and cut the corners so that I can turn it right side out and it'll lay nice and flat. And now I'm going to turn this out. Once you get this the way that you like it, what we're going to do is we're going to put it as in the centered as you can get it, and then we're going to base stitch and make sure that you're doing that roundy bit, not just sewing straight across. We want to kind of go around a little bit and then across. So let's take this to the sewing machine and base stitch that on. Alright, I've got a 4 stitch length, and I'm just kind of following that roundy bit and then back around. Alright, so I'm going to take my sharp scissors and I'm just going to cut those little extra bits that are hanging out. Cut those off, trim them down. And now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our gusset, and with lining side out, we're going to start measuring up our top notches and our bottom notches. Alright, let's go sew this together. Alright, so I am going to keep my 4 stitch length, and I'm going in 1/4 of an inch. Alright, so we got the back attached to our gusset. The next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to bind it. Now, I know that you guys don't like binding. I have heard it. But if you guys will find the binding that works for you, fold over elastic is amazing. You guys should really look into it. Waterproof canvas is so much easier just because I always have it on hand and I don't have to constantly remember to order it. But elastic, they even have binding now that you can order that you sew it on one way first, almost like doing a quilt. You sew it on one way first and then you sew it on again, and in that way you kind of make sure that you catch everything and you don't end up missing something. There is, what is the name? Fabric Therapy has this adhesive binding that's really cool. That way you kind of don't have to use clips. You can just kind of take the paper off. It's kind of like double-sided tape. You could use that and it might help you with binding, but there are 1,000,001 tools that people are coming out with every single day so that you guys can do binding and make it a little bit easier, because I'm telling you guys, binding a bag is so much easier than trying to do drop-ins or anything like that, at least for me. But it's only because I practiced and did it. I can't tell you how many times I've had to redo stitches and stuff. I wasn't awesome to begin with. I had to work it awesome. So it just takes practice and doing it over and over and over again. Alright, I'm going to finish clipping this up, and then I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and a 4 stitch length, I'm going to go ahead and sew my binding on. Alright, now that all of that is taken care of, the next thing we're going to do is grab the front panel, and then we're going to match up the top and bottom notches to the top and the bottom notches, the top and bottom notches. Oh my gosh, it's time for a nap. Okay. And then clip all the way around, and we're going to go ahead back to the sewing machine and sew it at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, so I've got a 4-stitch length or 1/4 inch seam allowance. Last binding, and then we're done. Okay, again, 4-stitch length, 1/4 inch. Alright, she's all ready to go. We're going to open up the zipper and turn her right side out. Oh my goodness, so cute! Alright, now we need to make our little strap. And I also need to zhuzh this up a little bit more. Okay, let me go grab our strap and then we'll do that. Alright, so I've cut my webbing to 45 inches. It's up to you, whatever size webbing you want to do. For crossbody sling strap kind of things, I've always used 45 inches. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put our strap through our strap adjuster and then back down and give yourself a decent amount of tail there and clip those together. Then with the flipped over side up, keep your webbing straight and add your swivel clasp just like that. Then take your end, put it through the one side, the same side that has the little edge, and then put it back through. Then grab your bag, and the very top D-ring, we're going to put this through here just like so, and then I'm going to clip that in place, and I'm going to sew that onto my bag. And then this way you can put the bottom of your swivel clasp on either side, whichever way that you want it. Alright, let's go to the sewing machine and sew those two together. Alright, I've switched my thread out to black so that it won't stick out like a sore thumb. And I am just going to be making a square, that's it. Nothing super fancy. And I've got a 3-stitch length, and I'm just going in a square. Just try and make sure that you don't accidentally get your ears, because that would not be cool. Alright guys, so what did you think? I think he turned out so cute, so simple and easy. He's got some cute, Kim and Alex have got some really cute hardware for the zipper pulls that you could kind of add to it, give it a little extra something. But I hope you guys like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, or if you want to subscribe and hang around and see some of the other fun things that are coming up, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Or if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. The panels are coming out September 1st, so make sure that you look out for the panel coming out. Also, don't forget, I've got merch. You guys know that the sewing world has been kind of tight lately. The economy has been stanky. So I've created a bunch of shirts on Bonfire, and I hope you guys will check them out and give them a look over and see if there's any there that kind of piques your interest. You really support the channel and continue to support my business. Also, make sure that you check out my website with all of the new patterns that are coming along. I've got just released another one, the Vegvisere, with a bunch of options, and we're going to be adding some more options to it at the beginning of the year, I think. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, enough promotion. Thanks for joining us again on Faith Works Designs. Bye, guys.